gonna pay someone to clean my teeth? Bruh, I buy toothpaste.
Yeah. Well, like, what do you think I'm doing every day?
Yeah, I wake up and I clean my teeth.
For 12 hours and then I go to sleep.
Of course. You can get comfortable, take your shoes off,
Picking up.
relax a little
Correctly.
bit, take your pants off.
My pants have been off since I went to the dentist.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. It's not a good dentist.
No. Is it like a sexy dentist?
Yeah, but not in the way that you'd like.
That's unfortunate.
I was at the dentist and I was watching this lady clean my teeth and I was like, this is what being abducted by an alien would feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just sticking
needles
needles
metal
and shit
into
in
my
your mouth.
gums.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probing me.
Mm-hmm. Like, how much is toothpaste? Like $2, $3?
It's like $1,
Yeah. All you need is some good toothpaste.
Yeah.
A toothbrush, maybe.
They're
just
like,
use your
they're
finger.
like, you need a cavity out? Yeah, that'll be $1,000.
Yeah. Oh, I could take it out.
I can take it out.
Yeah.
If my tooth gets rotten, I'll just rip it out.
Exactly. Yeah, I went to, where do you go? What dentist do you go to?
This is the first time I've been there. It was the one in Pine Bush.
Okay, I go to this one right next to the Buffalo Wild Wings in Newburgh.
Yeah.
And it was horrible.
Why?
They were horrible, dude. You know when you get like a cleaning and
I know, I was
well,
I
you were
just did, yeah.
You get a cleaning, and I'm used to dentists that leave my teeth feeling clean.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went here and my teeth felt disgusting after I left. Like there was like shit all over my teeth. Not like
There was
feces, but like
fecal matter between your teeth.
but like
They put plaque in.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was horrible.
Huh.
And then they were like, "All right, $800." I'm like, "Okay, fuck you, dog." And they were like, "We found like 12 cavities."
Yeah. By the way,
all
all of your teeth need to be ripped out.
yeah.
You're like, why? They're like,
Just give me
I'm
dentures
a
then,
dentist.
dude. Yeah.
Trust me.
No.
Hey, man.
See, I trust a doctor. You know,
Maybe.
sometimes.
Maybe.
Yeah. If
I
they're
don't
like,
go to doctors either.
yeah, I haven't been to the doctor in years.
You have like cancer and you just don't know.
Yeah.
Hey,
If it gets me, it gets me.
I'd rather die of cancer than go to the doctor.
Yeah. That's how it works. Like, why would I pay money? Like, I'm dying already.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to give them $1 million to not
To
fix
tell
me.
me that I'm dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sure.
Nature.
Just let nature take its course.
Exactly.
I mean, what did cavemen do?
I guess
Like,
they
didn't
just
have
died.
dentists.
No.
If their teeth were rotten, they just fell out, right?
They fucking, like,
That's just life.
Yeah.
Dogs' teeth.
they just bludgeoned each other with, like, big rocks and shit.
They probably didn't live past, like, 3.
Yeah. At most, it was, like, 13.
Yeah.
And you're
They
dead.
crawl out of the womb and get instantly
Yeah.
eaten by a lion.
Yeah. Or, like,
Yeah.
a pterodactyl.
Yeah,
Or something.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a different time periods, but
Whatever. No.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I wasn't there.
I'm not a paleontologist.
Yeah.
Not even they know.
No.
They just make stuff up.
Exactly. Like, oh, I found some bones. Okay.
Everybody's just making everything up. And we just trust that some people know things more than others.
That's the beauty of life.
Is it the beauty of life or is it the
It's-
scam of life?
It's the scam of life.
Well, this is the Off the Shelf podcast. Where we talk about dentistry.
Yeah. And how much
Doctors.
it's a scam. I'm Vinny.
Okay, let's do a real intro. Welcome to the Off the Shelf podcast. My name is Josh,
I'm Vinny.
and we're going to talk about the Batman movie.
Yeah.
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 So you saw it 3 times.
I saw it a total of 3 times.
That's a lot of times.
It is. And every time...
That's like 9 hours of Batman.
It is 9 hours of Batman. That's what my mother said to me.
Is
She
it?
was like, "Are you sure you want to see this movie 3 times? It is 9 hours out of your week." And
Yeah.
I said, "Whatever.
what else are you gonna do with those 9 hours?
Exactly.
Just think about the Batman movie. So
no, I might as well go there.
Yeah.
3 separate occasions, pay like so much money.
So which of the 3 was the best viewing for you?
Probably the first one.
Okay.
Because, it was new.
Yeah, that makes
And I was
sense.
like, wow. The third one was really good. The second one, I was in like kind of the back row, like the second to last row in the back. And the whole back row was nothing but like 14-year-olds. And I had the worst viewing experience in a movie theater my entire life.
Okay.
These kids talk the entire 3 hours of the movie.
Yeah. They're like, what are they talking about?
Not the movie. They were talking
Oh,
about.
they're just talking to each other?
They were talking to each other. They were on like TikTok.
Oh, that's really
with their
during
like
the
their
movie?
sound all the way up, yelling and screaming and like punching each other, doing whatever like 14-year-old kids do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was never like that as
No.
a 14-year-old.
Neither was I.
I always respected the cinema.
Exactly. You go to the movie to watch it.
Who do these kids think they are?
I know.
Interrupting the Batman.
Dude, like if that was my first time seeing the movie, I would have went back there and showed them the Batman. Like I would have attacked them. I was so angry.
You drove through the theater in your Batmobile?
Yeah, I would have.
Okay.
In my 2003 Honda Accord Batmobile. But every time I watched it, I really enjoyed it. I didn't. My enjoyment didn't go down.
The only reason you didn't enjoy the second
was
time
the people in the theater. Yeah.
Okay.
Um.
So did the movie live up to your expectations?
Yes,
It
it did.
Okay.
Because all I kind of wanted was a detective story, noir type, just Batman mystery. You think of like modern superhero movies. It's nothing but CGI and action, and there's action and CGI in this movie. But it's not
based
about
around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about the
Like,
the
they
mystery
didn't-
and the detective elements of Batman's character.
They didn't write the script around a big CGI stunt.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
And they use CGI for things they can't do in real life.
Sure. Yeah.
So this is going to be a spoiler talk.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, just to put that out there in case people haven't seen it.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert for the
Yeah.
Batman. Riddler floods the entire city.
Yeah.
And you can't.
You think that was CGI?
Yeah, Matt Reeves was like, "Okay, flood
He's like,
New York."
Yeah.
Yeah. And Warner Brothers was like, "Okay, we wouldn't let Zack Snyder make a 4-hour movie, but you could, flood an entire city."
Yeah.
Matt Reeves.
I mean, they didn't let him make a 4-hour movie.
No, but he did get away with
He
2 hours
tried.
and 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was very good. It was like Seven and Batman mixed
Yeah.
together, and I enjoyed that a lot.
I like that a lot. That's what Matt Reeves said. He was like,
Is it?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
like, a lot of the inspirations for the movie were Seven and Zodiac.
I totally see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a great approach.
hmm Especially for the Riddler.
Yeah.
Who is like,
Ridiculous.
yeah, but also a murderer.
Yeah, like-
Who's like leaving like calling cards. and stuff.
Yeah, like the Riddler has always been like this silly criminal who
Yeah.
puts on like a skin
Like
tight,
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Question mark green
and
suit.
he's just like, riddle me this, But this
Yeah.
is like, riddle me this, or I'm gonna like rip your head off. And
if
it's
you don't
cool.
solve my riddle, I'll kill the mayor. You know?
Yeah,
It's like,
and even when you solve my riddle, I'm
I
gonna
still-
flood the city.
Oh, yeah.
So either way, you're gonna lose.
yeah. Like he's not setting himself up to be caught by the Batman.
No,
He's
even
like,
though when
actively trying to.
yeah, like when he is
push a
caught,
message,
he
yeah.
still wins though. He still
Yeah.
does what he planned to do.
Yeah. He's caught in jail, and at that point in the movie, I was like, I checked my watch. I was like, wait, there's still like an hour
Yeah.
left in this movie.
I know a lot of people complained about that. About how like Batman catches the Riddler, or they catch the Riddler, and then there's still like 40 minutes left.
Yeah.
And how it's kind of like a weird structure for the movie. Because at no point is there a final battle between Batman and Riddler.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't punch the Riddler.
But I don't think.
But I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Because Riddler, and he says in the movie, he's like, my strength is up here.
Right,
he's not
yeah.
a physical like enemy.
Yeah.
But he does have like Riddler goons who Batman does punch.
He does.
the
I
end.
kind of like that.
Me too.
It seemed very real. Like if there was a serial
Yeah.
killer doing live streams,
People
there would be people
exactly.
that would be into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the Riddler. I like his design.
Design.
Like his mask and everything.
I like the way they drew him.
Yeah. I like the way he looks.
His
he
mask,
looks
yeah.
threatening. He doesn't look goofy.
I like how he has asthma.
Yeah, he's like breathing weird.
So heavy.
Yeah. And I think Paul Dano, who played the Riddler, did a really good job. I thought he was funny, but also like creepy.
He was like crazy.
He was.
Like I believed that he was genuinely deserving of being in Arkham Asylum.
Yes, like the end when he's throwing a fit. He's like, I had it all planned out.
Yeah.
Like that is so Riddler, because Riddler is such like a sore loser. You know, he's like, I'm the smartest and no one can beat me. And then when he loses, he's like, no. You know, so good on him for, doing a good Riddler.
Yeah.
I really like the full cast. You know, at first everyone was like, "Oh, Robert Pattinson's not going to be a good Batman," and at first I was like, "I don't know." But I watched The Lighthouse, and did you watch Good Times?
I did.
A Good Time,
but everyone seems to relate Robert Pattinson to Twilight.
Yeah,
which I think is kind of a crime.
Yeah,
because he's done a lot of other things.
Exactly, and that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
that
was like. Just something to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And
like The Lighthouse is such a crazy movie. And it's like he has a really good range in every movie he plays. He never seems to play the same character. Like he was in a movie Devil All the Time.
Okay.
Which I did not watch, but my parents did. And they said that he's like a priest or something in that. And he's very different than Batman or a lighthouse keeper. So he does a good job with like
adapting to roles, yeah. I mean, he was kind of the emo vampire Batman.
Yeah.
But in this case, I feel like it worked.
I think it worked too. I like seeing a younger Batman who doesn't know what the hell he's doing, really. Like, he knows what he's doing.
He does, but he's still figuring things out.
Yeah, he's messing up,
Yeah.
During the wingsuit scene, he completely just crashes into the butt. Yeah, he hits the concrete so hard. Yeah. And the first time I watched that, I was like, "Oh my god, I relate to that." Like I haven't, been
flown in a bat suit and hit a.
But I don't know. They always make Batman the most prepared, the most like unbeatable character, where it's like unrelatable. So seeing him mess up and like his Batmobile stalls before it drives.
Yeah,
I like that.
Like he's usually the James Bond type.
Yeah,
I heard that I watched the Flashpoint animated.
Oh,
movie,
you did?
And he calls him like the James Bond superhero.
Yeah,
I was like, that's very true. But in this new movie, he's not James Bond.
Not yet. Like he'll probably grow into that.
Yeah.
But for now, he's still figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
Part of what I like about that is that he doesn't like go to Fox and be like,
yeah, there's
what new gadgets do you have?
There is no Lucius Fox in this movie.
Everything
is him.
Everything
and like Alfred, I guess. I like that Alfred helps him with the Riddler ciphers.
Yeah, me too.
I really liked Andy Serkis as Alfred.
Andy Serkis
he's in like 4 scenes.
But he's nails good. All those scenes.
He really does. And you get this sense of like he cares about Bruce.
Yeah.
And Bruce doesn't really give a shit. Until the end.
He does.
But he's not
preoccupied. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has that moment where he's like, "You're not my father."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in like every Batman.
It's a little cliched at this point, but
it makes sense for the character in the movie.
Yeah.
And at the end, nearly brought me to tears when Alfred was in the hospital bed, and he was like, "You needed a father, and all you had was me." And I was like, "Oh God, Andy Serkis, stop!
Like he doesn't deserve you."
Yeah. And then he held his hand, and I was like, "There you go."
Yeah.
There's no like Playboy Bruce Wayne yet.
Yeah.
He hasn't developed that alter ego. He's like Batman 24/7, which I really like because this movie's not called the Bruce Wayne.
Right. Like people are like, we haven't seen Bruce Wayne. He's always hiding in his house.
Yeah. I like Falcone is like, the only other man in Gotham more reclusive than me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's perfect. Because it is like a modern billionaire type thing, I mean, unless you're like Elon Musk, where you are quite literally Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. You think he fights crime at night?
Maybe. I mean, he could. He could.
He's got the means.
Yeah. Like I hate to say that one of my favorite scenes in the movie is at the very beginning, but I think the beginning of the movie is perfect. You see the Riddler using like binoculars to watch the mayor, and then he like sneaks in the mayor's house, and the mayor's like watching TV, and then the mayor goes to like refill his drink or something, and then the Riddler's behind him in the shadows, and you don't notice him. He's like perfectly behind there, and when I first saw that, I was like, oh my god, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's so sinister.
Like all you see is like his glasses, like the reflection of the TV in the glasses, and I thought that was perfect. And then the first time you meet Batman in the movie, you know, you have all the criminals, and they're doing crime, as they do.
Right.
And they're all like, Batman's narrating, which is very Batman Year One thing to do. He's keeping a journal, which I really like. And he's like, the criminals think I'm hiding in the shadows, but I am the shadows. And you see, like, all the criminals look in the shadows when they see the bat signal.
Yeah, even though he's not there.
Until the one time he is there.
Yeah.
And you just hear his, like, slow, heavy footsteps. And then he walks out and murders those guys. Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't. The one guy, the first guy he punches is very questionable if he survived. Because there was a lot of wet, mushy sounds.
He took a couple teeth out at least.
Definitely. Yeah. He also electrocuted the hell out of one guy there.
I'm sure he's fine. It's like a taser.
Yeah.
I love all his little gadgets.
Me too. They don't like call too much attention to the gadgets, but he uses them throughout the whole movie.
It's like he uses them when he needs to.
Yeah, and he never really uses the same gadgets multiple times, like
except for the retractable.
Yeah, the grappling hook.
Driver grappling hook. Yeah,
which Batman uses that all the time, so that makes sense. But I don't know. I like all his gadgets. I like the suit.
The suit seemed a little bulky.
Yeah.
There were times where I was like, it looks a little thick. But I don't know. Maybe that works.
I think it works because it looks like it's all body armor. Yeah. Because he's taking bullets.
He does. He takes a lot.
He takes the most bullets out of any Batman, and he just stands there.
Yeah.
Except for the end where he gets like a blast to the tummy.
Yeah.
And then he's like out of commission.
But even still, it's just because of the force, not the.
It didn't pierce the armor.
Yeah. But I do like that as the movie goes on, you see his armor getting more beat up.
It's
and rough.
It's a lot like the Batman Arkham games. Did you ever play those games?
I did a little tiny bit.
As the game progresses, his costume gets more and more torn, and it's very cool.
I love that.
Me too. That's something you never see in any of the other Batman movies.
Yeah. Or most superhero movies.
Yeah, unless you're like Spider-Man. Where it's
old
like cloth.
Spider-Man. Yeah. Not new Spider-Man.
I mean, Tom Holland's costume gets a little messed up.
But not the first one before he's got the mechanical suit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When he gets the robot suit, the Iron Spider suit, he's fine.
It's self-cleaning.
Yeah. It comes with baby wipes. Yeah. I really liked the Penguin.
Yes.
I thought the Penguin was perfect. He's in the movie, in total, he has 10 minutes of screen time. But he's dispersed throughout the entire movie, so it feels like there's more Penguin than there is. And
it feels like he's there even when he's not.
Yeah. And I like at the end, after Falcone is done, and Batman's narrating, he's like, someone else is going to come into power, and they show the Penguin. And I'm like, yeah. It's his city now. I love that. I think he did so good. I think everyone did so good. I really like Catwoman. I'm not a fan of Zoe Kravitz.
I thought she did good.
But this is my favorite movie she's ever been in. Yeah. I've never watched a movie where she was the standout.
What else is she in?
She was in an X-Men movie once.
Oh, okay.
And some other stuff. But she did really good in this movie. When I watched her, I was like, that's Catwoman.
Yeah.
You ever watch Batman Returns with Danny DeVito as the Penguin?
Yes, yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer plays that Catwoman, and she was my favorite Catwoman, and she still probably is in terms of looks, but her origin in that movie is she gets pushed out a window by Christopher Walken.
Okay.
And then she gets bitten by some cats, and then she's resurrected by cats.
Okay.
And then she becomes Catwoman.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's real dumb. But she has
resurrected by, are they magic cats or something?
I don't know. Ask Tim Burton. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. But her costume in the movie's dope.
They're like lifting her up through the tram.
No, they just like bite her fingers and shit.
She's just a kid. No one is my son.
Yeah, 45-year-old Tobey Maguire. But yeah, they like the cats bite her fingers, and then she just like opens her eyes, and she's like Catwoman, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Nibble on her fingers.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
I don't get it. But this is Catwoman.
Sure.
You know, and from everything they do with her and Falcone's relationship to him being her dad, I thought was perfect, and I was hoping they would do that because that is in the comics. Mm-hmm. And I really like.
Is that like the main storyline, or is that?
I think that was in Batman: The Long Halloween or the sequel Dark Victory.
Okay.
But yeah, and Dark Victory and Long Halloween are something they did use for the movie. They use a lot of comic like material. Batman Year One, Batman Ego, and The Long Halloween. But one they didn't mention, and it's also one I have right here, Batman Earth 1. Now the story isn't, the same. There's no Riddler in Batman Earth 1 Volume 1. He shows up in Volume 2.
So who's in the first?
There's no like big Batman villain in the first volume.
Okay.
But it is all about like Arkham Asylum and Bruce Wayne's mom being in Arkham. Like in the movie.
Yeah.
And his dad running for mayor. That's all in Batman Earth 1. Also in Batman Earth 1, Penguin is the mayor. So that could be interesting if they ever do that in a movie.
They might.
Yeah. Also Alfred. This is a very like grizzled Andy Serkis type Alfred. Yeah, they do a lot of Batman Earth 1 stuff in the movie, which kind of surprised me.
Is this more of an obscure?
Yeah, it's kind of like DC wanted a new way to bring in new readers, but without doing a reboot or without doing like a separate continuity. Even though this is like a separate continuity, but it's more of just like a different publishing thing. So they just told origins and stuff of different characters like Batman and Superman and the Teen Titans.
Okay.
Yeah, and Green Lantern and Wonder Woman.
I have a question about the Teen Titans. Sorry to like completely derail
You're
this.
good, man. Yeah.
So, Cyborg is in the Teen Titans and he's in the Justice League, or is that?
He was in the Teen Titans first.
Yeah.
And then they rebooted, and then
he's just older than the rest of the Teen Titans.
Yeah, and then they were like, he's gonna be on the Justice League from now on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Cyborg.
Me too.
He's a cool character.
I prefer him on the Teen Titans. I just like him younger.
Yeah.
But he is like a good member of the Justice League. Especially because in the new movies and in the New 52 comics, he's not just like a robot man. Like he is, but he's that way because of a mother box, which is Darkseid's little thing.
His mother box?
We're not going to get into
terrible.
it.
Okay.
It's not important to the Batman.
Sorry, yeah.
It's okay. We'll talk about it one day.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, the Teen Titans are cool. We'll talk about them too. I like them a lot. But back to the Batman. I really liked it, and I hate to be the type of person to say, this one's my favorite, because it's like the newest one, but this one's my favorite.
Sure.
Like this one feels the most like Batman to me. From the cinematography to just the way the characters act. Like, I don't know. It's very different and refreshing, like, takes on these characters, but there's something very familiar about them.
Yeah.
Like, this Catwoman's very Catwoman. Even though they never call her Catwoman, and she only has, like, a ski mask, it's, like, very prototype versions of every character. Except for the Riddler, where he's just, like, already the Riddler.
Yeah. I like that, though.
Me too. And then at the end, they have the Joker, I guess. You don't really see him, but you see him a little bit.
Yeah, you hear his voice.
Yeah.
You kind of see his
You kind of see him.
silhouette.
He looks very, like, burned.
Yeah, he looks gross.
Yeah, which is cool. Whatever. There's always, like, different interpretations of the Joker, whether it's just a clown man or scars or whatever this is going to do.
Yeah. I mean, you were saying before, if you got thrown into his acid...
Yeah, you would probably burn.
You'd probably be horribly scarred.
Like, I wouldn't mind if he's just, like, burned and not bleached, and then he just paints himself white and with the makeup,
Yeah.
just dyes his hair green. Just
Is that what it is usually? He's bleached from
Yeah.
the acid?
Yeah, that's not makeup.
Oh, okay.
Like the lipstick's makeup, but he's just bleached.
Hmm.
And his hair's dyed green from the acid. So it's like magic acid or magic chemicals.
So, I just realized just now
Yeah.
that the Dark Knight Joker,
Yeah.
the Heath Ledger Joker, never fell into acid.
No.
His whole thing is that he's just got scars and he's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
So did Batman throw him into acid? Is that how it happened? How does this happen?
Okay. So
Who throws him into this pit of acid?
it's Batman.
It is? So why?
Okay. So the Joker was a criminal.
Okay. Was he a
or
clown?
No. Okay.
Okay.
So the Joker was this failed comedian.
Yeah.
From the story The Killing Joke
Oh,
by
okay.
Alan Moore.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
this
yeah.
failed comedian who gets like the mob is like,
Yes.
you're gonna wear this helmet, and he becomes the Red Hood.
You told me about
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
And he's just kind of like the mob's like fall guy or like distraction while the mob does their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to like rob Ace Chemicals. I don't know why they would rob a chemical plant. I guess there's money there. I
Yeah,
don't know.
there must be. They want the chemicals to
Yeah.
make like a new serum that makes you beautiful,
Sure.
and then that creates Clayface.
Yeah. But Batman shows up, and the Joker. You don't know his like real name, so I'll just call him the Joker.
Yeah.
Batman just like punches him a little bit, and then he falls into some chemicals.
Okay.
Sometimes Batman tries to help him, or sometimes he's just like, bye. And then he falls into chemicals, and then he comes out and he's bleached and green hair, and he's crazy.
It turns his hair green too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But not in the Dark Knight, where he's just crazy.
So the Heath Ledger Joker also dyes his hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he dyes his hair and paints his face.
Okay.
He just has the scars.
Sure.
Because in that movie, there's a scene where he doesn't have any makeup on.
Yes.
Like he's
yeah.
incognito, but he still has the scars. And I like that.
He's dressed up as like a veteran or something.
Yeah. And that's a good scene. And you get to see him without the makeup. But then Batman 89 with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, that Joker is fully bleached, but he paints his face to look like Caucasian.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's scenes where he like wipes off the makeup and you see the white forehead. I like that.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of good Batman movies. Some aren't.
Yeah.
Like Batman and Robin.
Sure.
Even though I do enjoy Batman and Robin.
It's a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
But it's also
it's
ridiculous.
Really, it is
Yeah.
the most absurd movie
Yeah.
ever. But I think there's a lot of like good set design.
Sure.
Like that Gotham City is kind of crazy.
It is.
Like I love when, well, saying I love is a stretch, but I enjoy when Robin is racing on the motorcycle with Batgirl. And you see all the gangs, including
Yes,
Coolio,
yeah.
where they play the first note of Gangster's Paradise on repeat.
Yeah.
And you see the criminals, and they have like neon face paint, and I'm like, what?
It's very odd.
Yeah,
But it feels.
Gotham.
Yeah. It feels
Yeah,
very cool.
it's very crazy.
I love when the villains have like themed hideouts.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
Yeah.
not just a warehouse. Like there's
Yeah.
actual ice and everyone's
Like,
on.
the Joker's always at a
skates
carnival.
And, yeah.
Yeah. Which also, like, you got a villain named the Joker.
Yeah.
If I was the mayor of Gotham, I'd be like, tear down all the amusement parks, all the carnivals,
Yeah.
the toy factories, nowhere where a clown would hang out. But yeah. But back to this Batman movie, I really enjoy it. It is. I've seen it 3 times, and it didn't get like old.
You didn't
know?
watch it the next time and be like,
No, the second time I watched it, I had my horrible viewing experience. But the movie was still great.
Yeah.
And then third time I watched it, still great.
What I like about this Batman is
Mhm.
that you can take something out of it even if you have no knowledge of Batman.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go too in depth into backstories or anything.
No.
At least ones that aren't completely relevant to the plot,
Yeah.
like his mother and his
Mhm.
dad, whatever.
It gives you like everything you need.
And it is pretty long, which
It
is
is.
probably the only setback for someone who doesn't necessarily care about movies or Batman.
Yeah.
Like they probably wouldn't enjoy it because
Probably.
it's a trek.
very
You
long.
got to be invested in it.
I think the movie does a good job making you invested, though.
It does, yeah.
Like, for me, it didn't really feel like 3 hours. I mean, it does feel long.
Yeah.
But I think everything in it is essential to the plot. There's no wasted time for me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's just full of useless
Yeah.
action
Like,
filler. Yeah.
I will say there is some times where Batman does things kind of slow in this movie. Like, he does a lot of walking, and there's a scene which, people walk, I understand.
Sure.
But there's, like, one scene where there's a bat cage. Like, a bat is in a cage.
Yeah.
And there's the Riddler has another
Yeah,
card in there. And Batman, like, you see him slowly open it, reach in, slowly close it. And part of me is like, you could have just cut to when he had it. But there's something about the suspense in it also. Or, like, there's a lot of tension in the movie for me. Like, some people might think it's slow, but I don't know. I think some of the slower parts make it a little better.
Sure.
Like, there are a lot of scenes where it is very, like, fast-paced. Like, the Batmobile chase scene. I love that scene.
Which is great.
I think that might be my favorite Batmobile chase scene.
I was reading an article
Yeah.
about that, the Batmobile, and how they wanted it to look like Bruce had built it himself.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
It is very cool.
And also that, I think the director said this, he's got this bumper on the front, this metal bumper, because nobody's chasing Batman, he's chasing them.
Yeah.
Which is so mad.
I didn't read that. It's awesome.
Crazy.
But yeah, I love this Batmobile.
Yeah. It's very cool. Muscle car.
Yeah, and
Batmobile.
I'm not a car guy, but I do like muscle cars. And for me, besides Michael Keaton's Batmobile, which in my opinion is the essential Batmobile,
Okay.
this probably is my favorite one. Everyone loves the Dark Knight Batmobile, the Tumbler, and I'm gonna piss a lot of people off for saying it. It might be my least favorite. It's not. The Val Kilmer one is my least favorite one, and the George Clooney one are really bad.
Okay.
But I never liked the Tumbler.
Yeah.
I just don't think Batman would drive it.
Yeah, it's too reckless.
It is. Like, Batman's a creature of the night, not a monster truck driver.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he would drive that.
It's like giant and loud.
Yeah.
And,
Like, it's cool sometimes. I've seen Batman drive big mobiles before.
Sure, yeah.
But for just, like, getting around Gotham, that is going to kill people.
I also like that his motorcycle wasn't like a bat motorcycle. It's just a regular motorcycle. Yeah.
I do like that the Tumbler, though, does have the bat cycle in it. Like, it'll shoot out. I do like that a lot.
Cool. Kind of felt like they're trying to sell toys with that one.
Maybe a little bit.
But
it's still cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I like pretty much everything about this Batman.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can think of that I don't like. I like how he growls sometimes. Like, at the end, he, like, gets shot, and he takes the adrenaline, and he's like,
yeah.
I love that. I think that's so cool. I don't know, there's, like,
Does Batman ever take, like, an adrenaline shot in the comics? This seemed kind of weird to me. I don't know.
I feel like he probably has, but he did used to take Venom, which is Bane.
That's
Bane's
what it looked
drug.
like. 'Cause
Yeah.
it is green. I mean, you could argue.
And he did get addicted to that one time in a story called Batman Venom, where he literally becomes an addict and he has to lock himself in the Bat Cave while he's going through withdrawals.
Just eating rats.
Yeah, and he grows a big beard, and I'm like, what? It could be Venom, but I think it's just adrenaline.
Because he didn't necessarily have like super strength. He just
Yeah,
and he seemed like he didn't want to take it. It was like a last
resort. Yeah. I don't mind it. I like it.
Yeah.
If it's Venom, if it's adrenaline, whatever. I
Either
don't care.
way, it was a cool scene.
Yeah,
He
to get him
growled.
really angry. Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
I think the chemistry between Batman and Catwoman worked. Like, some people think it was a little forced. I think it was pretty okay. I enjoyed it a lot.
I thought it was okay. He seems very awkward, and
He
I
does.
kind of like that.
Yeah.
'cause he doesn't spend time around people. So it
Exactly.
makes
He doesn't
sense
really know
that-
what to do.
Yeah.
Is this Batman a virgin?
He's probably, yeah.
Yeah. I like the scene where she puts the contacts in, and Batman's like, "Look at me," and she's like coming in for a
She's,
smooch
like,
a little
getting into
bit,
it, yeah,
and he's just looking
checking
at the contact.
contact.
He's like, "It looks good," and she's like, "Oh."
Yeah, I like that.
I like all their interactions.
I think he's got good chemistry with pretty much every character.
I agree.
Like, especially him and Jim Gordon.
I love this Jim
I
Gordon.
thought they were great.
I think I said this to you.
Yeah.
How Jim Gordon and Batman's relationship is kind of like they're having an affair. Like Jim Gordon is like, oh no, my wife is coming. You gotta get out of here. You know, I think it's so funny. Like he says, you gotta get out of here, man, at least 3 times in this movie.
Yeah. It's like he doesn't want to be seen with it.
I know. I love that. I like when he punches Jim Gordon.
Yeah. I love that scene.
Me too.
It's
and he's just like running
out.
Yeah. I
like he trusts the Batman.
Yeah.
Even though he knows nothing about him, he trusts.
He does.
Him.
Like they've had
and
2
it really
years
shows,
together.
Like that they have history.
Yeah.
That's unseen, but it's really spoken.
And it definitely feels like they do have
chemistry.
history.
Yeah.
You know. It's I think it's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of my favorite superhero movies of recent time.
Yeah. The neo-noir Batman detective film.
Exactly.
That's all they had to do.
Like, I'm a big fan of mobster movies. You know, I love The Godfather and Goodfellas. And watching this, it was like that, but with Batman. And I was like, awesome. You know? Like, I love Falcone. I thought he was great. I love the Penguin.
I heard they're going to be making possibly a Penguin show.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Okay.
They were talking about making a Penguin show, which I'm down. I'll totally watch that.
Where he like goes to therapy and eats gabagool.
Yeah, he's very Tony Soprano. He looks like Tony Soprano. Kinda.
I mean,
but with like
it
scars.
fits. Like,
it does.
That's what you should have.
Exactly. He's not like a gross penguin man like Danny DeVito.
He is kind of a gross penguin.
Well,
man,
he is, but he's not like eating fish and
or
people.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot that.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito ate fish.
Danny DeVito bites a guy's nose off in that movie.
He does. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that scene was very scary when I was a kid.
Me too. It's very scary now. I watch it, I'm like, oh my god. But then he has like penguins with missiles on them. Yeah. And I'm like, what is this movie?
You're like, is this silly
or scary? I think it's both.
Could be.
I actually really like that movie. It's really weird. That was the first Batman movie where it really feels like Batman. Just the Tim Burton aesthetic.
Like the darkness of it. Yeah.
It's very like gothic, which works for Batman. And this movie's also very dark and gritty like that, in a different way though.
Yeah.
But a Penguin show I think would be cool. I would definitely watch it. I heard they might make a Catwoman show. I would also watch it.
Sure.
I'm thinking like maybe just like a limited series, not like 7 seasons of the Penguin. You know, like one season of like 12 episodes or something.
Do you think it'll be necessary to watch that in order to understand the next Batman movie?
I think it might be.
Probably.
But I don't think they're going to make those series long.
Okay.
You know, 6 to 10 or 12 episodes.
Because I kind of hate that about Marvel.
Yeah. You got to watch everything.
And I didn't watch any of the shows.
Yeah.
I watched the first part of the WandaVision and I was like, I've had enough.
Yeah. I like WandaVision, but... You know, there's some that are good. WandaVision's okay. I did not like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Hawkeye was okay.
I feel like a lot of people did like Falcon and the Winter
Soldier. They did, and I just didn't get it. I mean, I understood it, but I just
feel that way about a lot of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people love them, but to me it's just kind of average.
Yeah, like being a fan of these characters, I'm always excited.
Yeah.
You know, even like the little, like Shang-Chi. You know, like he shows up in comics I read, and I'm like, oh wow, Shang-Chi. But I never thought he would get a movie, so when he did, I was like, that's cool. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
And it was good until the CGI fight at the end, and I was like, oh, here's the Marvel aspect of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's just another reason I love this movie so much, because there's no big CGI monster at the end. There's a CGI flood at the end.
Like for Shang-Chi, it should have been just a
Kung Fu. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it breaks, like, I don't know, just the tension of the movie. Like, it just... It's still a good movie, but
I would wasted some potential with the giant
exactly. Like, is it cool to watch dragons fight?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
But I'd rather just watch 2 people fight.
Yeah,
you know,
or
it's
watch Godzilla versus King Kong, Pacific Rim or something.
Yeah, oh, Pacific Rim is dope.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, I never watched the second one.
I didn't either. I saw clips of it. I was like, that's all I need to see.
Yeah,
yeah.
I also heard at first they were gonna make like a GCPD show.
Yeah.
Which I was down for, because they made the show Gotham, which I watched the first 2 seasons of, and I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And then season 3 had like Mr. Freeze, and he had hair, and I was like, how is 12-year-old Bruce Wayne gonna fight Mr. Freeze? And then I stopped watching.
Right.
Because the whole thing with that show is like, the first 2 seasons are believable, because there's no costumed villains. Like maybe here and there, but like the cops could handle it. You know, when you start getting to Mr. Freeze and characters Batman needs to fight, and Batman's only a child, you lose me.
Right, because they're gonna be like
they're gonna be 60 and Batman's like 30, and I'm like, okay, there's not much of a fight there. Just like push over Penguin's like wheelchair and you got him. Like that show lost me really quick, and I was so excited for it.
Like the Penguin can't eat a fish without putting his dentures in.
And
the guy's nose off.
And having a GCPD show when Batman's already around. That's what they should have done. That's what I thought they were gonna do, and that's what they were gonna do with this universe. But then they decided to put that show on hold and make it more of like an Arkham Asylum show, which I think is also interesting.
So here's my thing. Were there other villains before Batman showed up?
I mean, there was definitely the Joker.
But the Joker is still a Batman villain. You know what I'm saying? Like, pre-Batman, were there any villains that were like, we're going to dress up in costumes?
Probably not, no.
So, is there something about Batman being there that inspires people to be extra crazy?
I mean, I told you about All-Star Batman and Robin, where Black Canary and Batgirl are inspired by this lunatic.
Right.
And they're good guys. So, if, like, bad people, like, oh, this guy's dressing up, I'm going to become the Flamingo.
Sure. Is that a real villain?
That is a real villain.
No, it's not.
He's a real villain. He's like a cannibal or something.
What? Why is he called the Flamingo? He doesn't eat shrimp?
He has pink hair.
Okay.
There it is. I hope we never see him in a movie.
Yeah.
He's okay.
Maybe like one scene.
Yeah. A villain that would be cool to see in this movie, or in this franchise, is Professor Pig, who is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like Leatherface, but with a pig mask, and he like cuts up people and turns them into like horrible doll. Like he's like obsessed with perfecting people.
Yeah, okay.
So he does surgery on people and make them perfect.
Like that villain in Invincible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I realized...
But he looks like a pig man.
After talking to you about comics more, I've realized how many references
are in Invincible
there are to
like all
comics.
of them.
Yeah.
Invincible is just like every comic.
Yeah.
But
which is cool.
Still unique and cool in its own way. I love Invincible. The first season was great.
We should talk about it sometime.
We should. I've read like the first 7 or 8 volumes. But it's like 25, 26 volumes long. It's a very long book.
Something I like about the Batman,
yeah,
the movie, not the character.
Yeah, fuck the character. That guy sucks.
Is that they really have this focus on like drawing the line between good and evil, which is a common thing for Batman. I feel like, especially like the Dark Knight does it too.
Yeah,
where the Joker's trying to trick him. You know, it's like where do you draw the line? But there's a scene where the Riddler is talking to the Batman.
Yeah.
And he's in jail or whatever. And he's like, we could have been partners?
Yeah!
Like, I wanted you to be with me. Like, and I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. I like that too.
Batman has enough in his background with his mom going to Arkham Asylum and his dad being corrupt.
Like, he could be a villain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that just says, like, a lot about his character.
Yeah.
You know? Like, he could be the worst villain Gotham's ever seen, but... You know, he's good at heart.
Yeah. I like how people don't really trust him yet either.
Yeah.
Like
the cops don't, except for Gordon.
Except near the end, they kind of start to...
Yeah, I love... Like, this is the first time in a Batman movie I felt like Gotham really trusts Batman. You know, when he's leading everyone with the flare out of the water, that scene was awesome to me.
But the reason that I think it's so awesome is because he had to earn it.
Yeah. Definitely.
He didn't like start off. It's like, oh, it's the Batman. We love him. It's like this some guy running around in a suit, and he looks like a cosplayer, and he's going to crime scenes. And, but then he shows his worth by rescuing these people, and I agree. That's very cool.
It's he's a very he feels very honorable at the end. Like everyone just trusts him.
Yeah.
Like he looks like a lunatic, but everyone's like. He's their savior.
Yeah.
You know, he's the savior of Gotham.
There's
that's the first time I felt that in a movie.
Imagery in it, too. The savior imagery.
I love when he's holding the woman at the end.
Yeah.
Like, and putting her on the
woman, whatever,
Whatever. And she, like, holds on to him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, it's okay. Like, he doesn't say that, but he, like, he's like, it's okay, let go. You're smudging the bat armor.
I like how little he talks, especially as Batman.
Yeah. Like,
he's like the silent observer. He's not there to make conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like his Batman voice too. It's very simple. It's just his voice, but like deeper. Yeah. You know, he's not doing like a Christian Bale. You know, I don't want to piss off the internet.
Sure.
But I'm going to.
Do it. Yeah, I don't care. What has the internet ever done for us?
Nothing. So I like the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy.
Yeah.
I think it's very good, except for The Dark Knight Rises. I don't really like that one. I think Christopher Nolan kind of loses, you know, loses it.
I think it loses a lot of steam when it gets there.
Yeah.
And after watching
there's a lot
it
of plot
again,
holes.
Yeah, and also they kind of reuse a lot of ideas from the first two. Where you're like, we've seen this already. Mm-hmm. Especially when it's like, where are they? Yeah. Like, where is it? It's like, how many times are you just gonna yell at him, like the villain, to ask where people are, or things are?
So when The Dark Knight first came out, it was like, it changed movie and comic book movie history. Mm-hmm. You know, everyone was like, that's the best one. And for a long time it was.
Well, because we never seen anything like that
Anything
before.
better.
Yeah.
You know? So now this new movie comes out, and in my opinion, it's a better Batman movie. Like, I watch this movie and I feel Batman. You know, I feel the essence of Batman. Not to get sexual, but I feel the essence of Batman. Like, to me, it feels like a graphic novel come to life. And in recent years, when I watched The Dark Knight, it's still a great movie. You know, it's still filmed, like, Christopher Nolan knows what he's doing. You know? But in my opinion, like, Batman Begins is a great Batman movie, and The Dark Knight, Batman's kind of my least favorite character in the movie. The movie's all about the Joker and then Two-Face.
Yeah. Who are good characters.
Who are great characters. Yeah. You know, like, Heath Ledger makes the movie.
Definitely.
And part of me, like, if Heath Ledger wasn't in the movie, it probably wouldn't be as good. Yeah. You know, it wouldn't be as memorable. But even if you take the Riddler out of this movie, even though he's the villain, there's still a lot more in this movie that is Batman.
Yeah.
You know? And... You know, I was never really I always hated Christian Bale's Batman voice. I never thought it was intimidating or scary. I thought it was stupid. Mm-hmm. You know, I know he's changing his voice so they don't know it's Bruce Wayne. But there's other options.
Yeah.
You don't have to growl.
I mean, most superheroes don't change their voice at all. But I get why he does it.
Me too. But even in, like, Batman Begins, it's not that, like, you know? It's more of, like, a whisper. Like... I don't know, he makes his voice deeper in Batman Begins, and he still growls and yells, but it's not as extreme as it is in Dark Knight, and in Dark Knight Rises, it's even worse.
Oh, yeah.
It's laughable, in my opinion. And I don't really like his Batman costume. His Batman Begins one is okay, but his Dark Knight one is just not for me. Mm. And again, with a Tumblr, and I know everyone... is gonna start commenting like, you don't know what you're talking about. I do know what I'm talking about. He doesn't look like Batman to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why all the Batman movies make Batman wear a black suit.
Is the one in The Dark Knight when he's got the weird neck?
He has the weird neck in all of them.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah. The Dark Knight was the first one where he can move his head.
Yeah. Which is better.
It is better. But there's
at the same time.
Yeah. Like, I just don't like the design on, like, his tummy, or, like, I don't know. And they always give Batman just a black costume until the Ben Affleck movies. Batman never really wore just a black suit. He always wore the gray with the black, or the gray with the blue.
Yeah.
So in this new one, he also has gray and black, which I like a lot.
Yeah. He doesn't have the yellow belt.
No. Whatever.
Which is...
Maybe one day he'll have it. I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Maybe it was yellow and they got dirty.
Yeah. Gotham's dirty. Yeah. You know? And if Batman's falling all over the place, then it's bound to get disgusting.
I like that he has a tool belt.
Me too. Yeah.
He's got, like, pouches.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Just the whole design of Christian Bale's Batman's not for me. The Batman Begins suit is better, in my opinion, even though he can't move his neck. But also, I don't like... The cape is black, and then the suit is kind of, like, a different black. Like, it doesn't work for me. Like, I watch it, and I'm like, oh. It doesn't look as good as they're trying to make it look.
Yeah.
But I think, out of the trilogy, Batman Begins is the best Batman story, because it is all about Bruce Wayne and him training with Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul.
As I say it.
Yeah, as like everyone says
it.
But And Scarecrow's in that one, and I like Scarecrow, even though I feel like he's not used as much as they should use him. He's more of just like Ra's al Ghul's bitch in that movie, and it kind of breaks my heart.
Yeah, he doesn't really hold up on his own.
No, but Scarecrow should. Like, Scarecrow is the king of fear. You know, he would be a great villain for the next Robert Pattinson Batman movie.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But I have some ideas for other villains they could use, and other villains that I think they definitely set up in this one. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, you know, the Nolan trilogy is great, but I have a lot of problems with it. But that's another episode. We could break down those movies maybe.
Sure.
But, you know, the Batman Begins Gotham City looks how Gotham should look. And then in The Dark Knight, it just looks too clean. Like, the Dark Knight movie opens and it's daytime, and in my head I'm like, Gotham, there's never day. Like, Gotham is nighttime always, and it's raining and gross.
Yeah.
And in this new Batman movie, Gotham feels the most like Gotham. You know, and Gotham feels kind of like a character in this movie. You know, it's very gross and horrible, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's got almost like a Blade Runner aesthetic.
Yeah, like Gotham definitely has its own personality in this movie. It doesn't just feel like a normal city.
And I wouldn't want to live there.
No.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason people live there is because they, like, don't have enough money to leave, or they're corrupt and enjoy the corruption. Or they're Batman.
I really like the politics in this movie, which is something unusual because I feel like a lot of movies do politics really bad.
I agree.
But it feels real. It's like...
It feels real and entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, it's not boring. I didn't find any of this movie boring.
No.
And, you know, some people that don't like detective stories might find it boring. Especially if you're going in expecting, like, just an action superhero movie. But if you go in expecting, like, a noir-type detective drama with, like, even horror elements. Like, the first time Riddler shows up, it's, like, scary.
It's, like psychological horror.
Yeah. Psychological Batman.
Yeah.
That is perfect. It's, I don't know.
Which is why I think, like you said, Scarecrow could be a really cool option for a future.
And I know they did Scarecrow in the Nolan trilogy, so they might not want to do him again so soon. But in this movie, there is one, like, blatant setup for a character. And it's in the scene with, when they're talking about Thomas and Martha Wayne. And how Thomas, there was the reporter, Edward Elliot, who found out Martha was an Arkham. And then Thomas hired Falcone to, like, kill that guy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Edward Elliot is not the character. But in the Batman universe, there's a character, Thomas Elliot, who I'm guessing is that guy's son. And he becomes the character Hush. And in that scene, they mention Hush Money, and then on the screen it literally says Hush.
The word Hush, yeah.
So for me, I'm like, he's going to be the next villain. Because they've never done that in a movie, that character in a movie, and he's very tied to Bruce Wayne and the Waynes. So for me, that's like the most obvious choice for the next villain, or the Court of Owls. Just because I want to see that.
So, okay, I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
The Court of Owls, and also, what's the other one that we were talking about?
The Cult?
Yes, the Cult.
Yeah, the Cult would be awesome.
It would be so cool to see.
It would be so
both of them.
Cool.
But my thing is, Robin's kind of a big character in both of those.
He is. I mean, honestly,
and like an older Dick Grayson too.
If you do, in the Court of Owls, because he's Nightwing. Yeah. But I mean, even if like you have a younger Dick Grayson who's still Robin, you could still do that story. Just he's younger. But in like Batman the Cult, Robin does rescue Batman, but you could easily switch that out for Jim Gordon in the movie.
That's true.
Because the way this Jim Gordon's very like in the action.
He is. Yeah.
You know, more than, and like Gary Oldman's a great Jim Gordon. In the Dark Knight movies. But this Jim Gordon like rolls up with Batman.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that.
Doors with him.
Yeah. I love that. I really love this Jim Gordon. At first, I didn't know if I would like him just because I never saw him in any other movies. Jeffrey Wright.
I feel like I've seen him in something else, but I can't.
Probably, I can't like put my finger on it. But I mean, just the way like, because usually he's like bald and beard. He didn't look like Gordon to me. But then I saw the first trailer and he had the mustache, and I was like, there he is. Yeah. You know, I'm bored.
Yeah. And he acted like Jim Gordon.
And he did. Yeah. He's like a very exhausted Jim Gordon. You know? Yeah. He's like, I gotta get you out of here, man. Love it. He's so good.
I love when he shows up to crime scenes with Batman.
Me too.
When he's like, "Oh, don't touch the evidence." He's like, he's wearing
gloves.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so good. I heard the director was talking about maybe wanting to do Mr. Freeze in a sequel. I would love that. I think Mr. Freeze is a great villain, and I think it's kind of funny how Riddler was in Batman Forever, which is like one of the worst, and Riddler was like horrible in that movie. Mm-hmm. And he made Riddler cool in this one. So I'm wondering if he's gonna do like Riddler, Two-Face, Poison, like all the movies that were, you know, like Mr. Freeze, all the characters that were not good in a movie, and just redo them and better. He's probably not. But if he did Mr. Freeze and make him more of like a scary ice man, I think that could work.
Sure.
I'd love to see Mr. Freeze or the Court of Owls or the Cult, or I don't care. I'll take anything. Clayface, Man-Bat could be cool. But then again, those are very CGI.
Would be very cool. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
So I think like Hush or the Cult could be like, you know, easy stories to
just
adapt.
Another like person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie. 11 out of 10.
11.
I don't know.
Wow.
I enjoyed it a lot though.
A Kevin Levin out of
Kevin
Ben
Levin
10.
out of Ben 10. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what I'd rate it. I think I'd at least give it a 9. I think it's pretty good.
I think it's solid.
Yeah.
I think what I appreciate about it is that if you didn't have Batman, if it was completely disconnected from Batman, it would still
be
work
a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the contextual stuff might not work as well. Like, no regular detective is like the savior of a city.
Yeah. But
that's the kind of stuff that makes it specific to Batman, which I like.
Exactly.
But I still think that it works as its own thing.
You know, I'm wondering if like in a sequel, if Catwoman's gonna come back. Like she probably will.
Yeah.
I don't see why she wouldn't. You know, she does leave Gotham, I guess, at the end of this one. But whatever. She mentioned Bloodhaven. That was the city she's going to, and that's actually the city that Dick Grayson, when he becomes Nightwing, that's where he goes to protect. So I heard Bloodhaven. I was like, oh. Plus, this little boy is in the movie a lot. The mayor's son, the little kid that Batman saves from the water. I also really like that. How usually kids are like, oh my god, Batman, he's scary. But when this kid was like drowning in the flood, he's the first one to grab Batman's hand.
Yeah. And
to me, I was like, oh, there he is. There's Dick Grayson. Even if it's not.
Is it the same kid that he saved from being hit by the car?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I almost wonder if he kind of knows.
Yeah.
That Bruce is Batman.
I like how sometimes in this movie he does things like multiple times, but once as Batman and once as Bruce Wayne. Like he goes to the club as Batman. He's like, you know who I am? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he goes as Bruce Wayne. And he's like, you know who I am? He's like, you're Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And then the third time he just sneaks in. But then he saves the kid as Bruce Wayne from the car, and then he saves him as Batman at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Me too.
There's a lot of parallels in this movie.
There is.
Yeah.
I feel like they really thought about like everything in the movie. You know, nothing felt half-assed about it, and I really like that.
I like when the goon says, "I'm vengeance."
Me too. And then Batman's like,
he's like, no.
Yeah. He's like, that's my catchphrase. It's more of like, oh god.
I like that he says it.
Me too.
I think it's cool.
Me too.
Instead of saying, I'm Batman.
Yeah.
It's like, because, you're Batman, but what do you stand for?
I think they only say Batman once in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like at the end, when Batman's like, this is the end. The end of what? The Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they show like newspapers and stuff.
Call him? I mean, he writes letters to the Batman.
They write the Batman, but very little do they say the Batman in the movie. Because it's almost like he's not really the Batman yet. Like, he is, but he hasn't become the Batman we all know him to be yet. So, you know, in future movies, he'll probably get his shit together.
Yeah.
Stop falling on his face so much. I do think at the end of the movie, when he finds Riddler's house, he crashes through the window, and he like falls, like he crashes and falls through the window, and I was like, come on, man, you gotta get it together by now. There's 20 minutes left in the movie, and you're still crashing through shit.
He's like tired though.
Yeah, that makes sense. Also, I really like, while watching the movie, the first time I was watching it, I feel like there's definitely a chunk where there's very little Riddler in it. Mm-hmm. When it's all the Catwoman and Falcone stuff. And while watching it, in my head, the first time I was like, oh yeah, the Riddler's in this movie. But as soon as I thought that, that's when Falcone dies. And he gets shot. He dies like under the light. Yeah. And Batman's like, oh, bring the rat to the light.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, the Riddler. And it's like, as soon as you forget about the Riddler, they bring him back.
Yeah.
And I think they did a great job with the movie.
It's good timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus the cinematography and everything's great. Like, it's definitely the most visually pleasing Batman movie to me.
There was one part that I was kind of not... I don't know. It felt weird to me. Is when the guy... He's just some guy, right? He's got a bomb around his neck.
The Coulson?
Yeah. And the bomb, like, clearly blows up in Batman's face. But he doesn't get burned or anything.
No, he doesn't. I thought about that too.
I was thinking about it, I was like, shouldn't Batman have, like,
scars?
Some damage from
I mean,
that?
I understand
like,
his body is safe.
He didn't protect his face at all.
No. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, I did think about that too. But, I don't know. Batman gets away with some things in the comics that are inhuman.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it is just a comic.
Like, the amount of times Joker falls off a bridge into a waterfall or something and survives. There's nothing human about the Joker. He is like an inhuman, supernatural presence. Which sometimes they say that in the comics, but that's not important. Maybe this Joker will be supernatural.
He's a ghost or
ghost
something?
Joker.
Yeah.
Or like a it's not important.
He's a trickster god.
Yeah. But yeah, I think those are all my thoughts about the movie. It definitely lived up to my expectations. I enjoyed it every time I watched it. It never got boring or stale in my mind.
Yeah.
While watching it.
There was one part where I checked my watch and I was like, oh, there's an hour left.
Yeah.
But other than that...
the only reason I checked my watch during this movie because I was tired.
Yeah.
Not because I was bored.
No, yeah. It was because I was sleepy.
Yeah, because when the first time we watched it, we got out at like midnight.
Yeah.
And we're old men now.
Right.
You know.
Our teeth are falling out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta go to the dentist. Definitely my favorite superhero movie of all time. I declare it.
Sure. Definitely better than most Marvel movies that I've seen.
I still think like probably the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans are my favorite.
But some of that is due to
nostalgia and everything. Even though I still think they hold up.
I do too. I think objectively they're pretty good. Like
when you think about your favorite superhero movies, you really need to disconnect nostalgia and actually is it a good movie?
Yeah.
Like for me, the 1989 Batman movie with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson was always my favorite. Just because that's the one I watched the most when I was 7 years old.
Right, yeah.
And saying that I like that one more than The Dark Knight or more than this one would maybe be a lie, just because I have so much history with it. But I think...
Like when you take a step back and you look at it
as
objectively.
Just like, yeah. Not just from my experience with the movie. It's still a good movie, but it's not the best in terms of Batman or superhero.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like a few more years of this franchise would maybe cement it being like one of the best franchises in superhero cinema.
Well, I hope that they take a page out of the book of the Batman.
Yeah. When
they're making other
superhero
DC superhero movies.
Me too.
Other Marvel movies too.
Yeah. Like Marvel will never make a movie like this.
Yeah. Like never. I wish that I know it's not going to be, but I wish that the Doctor Strange movie would be more like this.
Yeah, like just darker.
Just like darker.
I mean, Sam Raimi is making it.
Real. So maybe.
But I feel like Marvel's going to nerf
But Sam Raimi also made a movie about a crocodile.
Crawl.
Yeah.
Oh god, did he direct it?
Yeah.
What?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, his name's all over it, so.
Great.
So you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be crocodiles in
Killer Croc.
Strange.
Oh, yeah. Killer Croc would be a great villain in this.
You know, they're messing around with multiverses and stuff.
Yeah. Oh god. But I'm not excited for the Marvel movies as I used to be.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Doctor Strange and Thor, but mostly just because I love those characters and I hope they're good.
And maybe they will be.
And maybe they will be.
Know. Yeah.
You know, I feel like at this point though, Marvel movies are just like turn your brain off and enjoy, while this movie's turn your brain on and like experience the Batman.
Right.
You know,
which I hate when people are like, you just gotta turn your brain off and enjoy. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I like logic and I like to understand the process of all this. Marvel sucks, DC rules.
I'm too smart to enjoy Marvel.
Yeah. Like, Marvel sucks, DC rules.
Yeah. Smooth brain Marvel movies.
Yeah. You see, I'm one of those people who loves both Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
I don't know how I do it. Because in this, like, world, it's either one or the other. Yeah. You know, you're either a Powerade or a Gatorade type of guy.
Sure.
You can't be both.
You're either,
like, I am.
Everything is so...
Yeah. Coke or
left
Pepsi.
Or right, yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. I like everything. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
You don't have to be DC rocks, Marvel sucks.
No.
DC rules and Marvel drools, I
mean. Exactly. Like,
proper terminology.
Exactly.
You can like both.
Exactly. That's okay. And I do. You know,
it's okay to like movies that suck. It's okay to like movies that are great.
Exactly. I like Daredevil with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I think that movie's awesome.
Yeah, the movie's great.
Yeah. Real bad, but real great.
Yeah. Evanescence.
That's a fact.
It's a
fact that Daredevil is a great movie.
I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's the end of it.
You don't like it? That's your fault.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Should we leave them with a riddle?
Yeah. What's the riddle?
Oh god, I don't know. Or tell a joke, maybe?
No, do a riddle.
Okay. I only know jokes.
Okay, do a riddle in the form of a joke.
Oh god.
Or a joke in the form of a riddle.
Riddle me this.
Yes.
Where does a cow get its medicine?
I don't know.
A pharmacy.
Oh. I solved the riddle.
Now I'm gonna flood Gotham.